very warm welcome to the NDTV Gulf Indian Excellence Award, presented by Arabian Automobile Nissan and powered by Ragbank. We are your hosts for the evening. I'm Manisha Natarajan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vishnu Shobha, and I would just like to say that it's absolutely wonderful to be back over here in Dubai for the second time in 2 years. In fact, you were there last year as well. It was a lot of fun, and this time as well, it's been fantastic to be here to honor some of the most successful and most inspirational Indians, not just in the United Arab Emirates, but some of you are world leaders. This is an evening all about each one of you and what you mean to us back in India. It's an evening that explores the future of the equation between India and the United Arab Emirates. It's a relationship which is one of the strongest that India has with any nation.
Absolutely. And you know, Vishnu, other than being absolutely right, I think if you look around, we are surrounded by some of the most successful Gulf stories, awesome Indian success stories. And Vishnu, would you like to hazard a guess on the combined net worth of this room?
Well, it's a little bit more than our salaries combined, I think.
Just a little bit,
just
right?
Not too
just
much,
not
though,
too much. Just a little bit more than Vishnu and my salary. Net worth aside, it's only the extraordinary, the unusual, the innovative and the creative leaders obsessed with a desire to prove themselves who achieve the heights that our winners have done so today. Also, it's important for all of us to remember that these awards do not only acknowledge success, they recognize other qualities. For example, the resilience, the ability, the struggle. Lots of them have struggled so much to get where they have. We value these awards and they're chosen so carefully with all the transparency and of course very, very wisely.
So that's essentially what we are looking at this evening. As the most watched English news network from India in the Gulf, something that we take a great deal of pride in, we deeply value our presence in this market. We deeply value the fact that many of you have selected us as your channel of choice in getting news on India. And it is our goal in sustaining a relationship with all of you, not just business leaders, but also community leaders in this country. Many of you are community leaders in the United Arab Emirates. And as we've already mentioned, you are an inspiration to all of us. The work that you do over here, it's something we know in India, we recognize in India, and it's time we perhaps spoke about it a little bit more. Well, that's just the start of this evening, and we promise it's going to be an evening of lively discussion. At this stage, I'd like to call our colleague Manika Raikwad, the managing editor of NDTV, to come up on stage and to share a few words in her opening address. Manika.
Good evening, everyone. For us at NDTV, it's a pleasure to be here and partnering with all of you in the Gulf Indian Excellence Award. Well, India and UAE have always had a very strong bond, whether it's been trade, economic. It's been a friendship that's been there for really long. This is my first time here, and I have to say, 1.5 days, I'm already in love with your city. I see before me, Vishnu and Manisha spoke about net worth, and I also just want to say, it's a very eminent gathering. I've met some of you just before we started. It's a very rich gathering, not just in your net worth, but I think in the values, in what you do for society, in all your experience. India and the Gulf, the UAE, society has been such a key factor in our lives. It's also a very key word here because, you know, at a time when the world around us is changing, we at NDTV want to ensure that our core values of truth and objectivity remain at the forefront of our work. We came here for the first time in 2004, and it's been a very, very exciting 12 years. Like Vishnu mentioned, we are the #1 Indian English news channel in the region. And really that's because of all of you, our partners, our viewers. Thank you. We're available, NDTV, New Delhi Television, is available in 100 countries around the world. But our partnership here is really, really special. And honestly, it's not because we're here today and all of you are here, but our Prime Minister was here, Mr. Modi was here in August, and he started, it was a first visit, a first because it was, I think, a Prime Minister coming here after 30 years. It's the start of a new era, and quite frankly, perhaps for the first time, we're truly realizing the potential of this relationship. These are very heady times. America has a new president. The UK believes it doesn't need to be with Europe anymore. And back home in India, ATM is a little bit of, a working ATM, let me say, is a bit of a luxury right now. I joke about the last bit, but whether it's demonetization or the fact that everywhere Europe is changing, the world is changing, I think news and the people who bring news to you have never been more important. We want to stand out. We want to say that we bring to you news with credibility. We're not about noise. That's really what we come here with, for your trust and to give you news in the most objectful, truthful manner. Having said that, let's start this evening with a big bang, and that's of course Vishnu and his panelists.
We've had an equation now that is several decades old. It's an equation which was smaller in the past, though historically important, and today it's huge. India and the United Arab Emirates are partners at so many levels. Historically, we've been cultural partners. Today, we are strategic partners. And in between, of course, there is that extraordinary business equation that so defines the relationship between India and the UAE, India and Dubai. And your presence in this room today is an example of how important it is. Just look at the success that all of you are in this country, what you mean to the United Arab Emirates, what you mean to your respective businesses, and indeed what you mean to us in India. And I think we've got some wonderful participants in this first discussion. Mohiddin Thumbe is the president of the Thumbe Group. He's the first Indian to be invited to the United Arab Emirates to set up a medical college. Shaji Mulk is chairman of Mulk Holdings. Vicky Kapoor is associate editor of the Khalij Times. He joins us to give us a perspective on some of the big strategic developments between India and the UAE. And Kulwant Singh is CEO of the Lama Group. He is the king of tourism. We in India are working towards a cashless society. It's a country, we have a country which is traditionally dependent on cash. We have a prominent move towards demonetization. And our Prime Minister hopes that in a finite period of time, we will be not a cash-free society, but a less cash society. Do you see that as being important for the future economic growth of India?
Well, I think today demonetization is a hot topic for sure. The effects are still unknown, in my opinion. A bold move, a gutsy move, and all pointers at the moment do point to making India a very strong economy. And I definitely think in the long run, it's a great move. And this is where the Indian future moves forward. Thank you.
All right, so it is a big move. Let's see where exactly it goes here onwards. Kulwant Singh, in the immediate interim, in the immediate run, do you believe that demonetization has resulted in some sort of contraction in your core business, tourism?
We're not very far from India in terms of geographical location, connectivity with air. So with this demonetization, obviously there is a sudden impact where people had a lot of cash lying with them. They would decide on a 3-night, 2-night trip to Dubai. That must have impacted in these days, in these beginning days of demonetization. However, with an economy of such a large size of India, having 2 to 3% of digitalization is not something which is good for the economy of that size.
Yep.
US economies, which are very traditional and which are having more than 50% of their economy above, which is cashless, is something that India should march forward. So I think it's a great move, and the effects are there, but these are very, very normal. It's very normal that there would be an impact, but I think going forward, It's going to build a very strong economy for India and for its city, yes, Dubai.
Tell us a little bit about medical tourism. Now, this is something where India's had a real future, had a real presence in internationally. Do you believe that to a certain extent that stands threatened, perhaps in a way that it's not been the case? Or is that again a strong point for us?
In our case, we built these hospitals mainly as teaching hospitals, and this is a very thinly populated country. So we had to bring in patients somehow into our hospitals, not only as a business, even for the training of students. So we got into medical tourism 5 years ago. We have representative offices in around 45 countries now. Our dream is to bring about 1,000 patients. But most of the patients we realize are mainly interested in going to India. We're trying to bring them to Dubai. It's a little expensive here also, but they like to go back to India. So we are now diverting patients to Hyderabad, to other hospitals in India also.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we just look at the business interests of our other panelists, I wanted to go across to Vicky Kapoor. Vicky, you know, in the last 1 year, we've seen an evolution in the relationship between India and the United Arab Emirates. We are now strategic partners. Terrorism is a common concern for citizens around the world. How important do you believe this equation between India and the United Arab Emirates is?
I think it's very, very important. It's critical, and whatever's happened in the last 1 year with Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting the UAE in August 2015, then His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, him visiting India, and again he's been invited for the Republic Day Parade. So as the chief guest, this shows the strength of relationship that India and UAE are now bringing to fore. And that's very important in various sectors, and counterterrorism is definitely one of them. I think both India and the UAE share very strong beliefs in this domain, in counterterrorism, and both of them are really working together now in terms of training as well as sharing of information to make sure that this happens. So it's very, very critical, this relationship.
Mr. Mulk, construction standards, not just the process of construction, fire safety, fire regulations. You've been a world-class player in terms of defining codes. In fact, even in even in the United Arab Emirates, a lot of your proposals have been accepted. They are the law in this country. In India, we have a program for smart cities. How do you believe that some of the skills that your group possesses, the technical expertise your group possesses, can actually be translated into helping our smart cities be realized?
Well, I think, any smart city also starts with safety. When you talk about fire regulations, it's all about, UAE has adopted now. We've been involved with the local government authorities in actually advocating and implementing now some fire standards. And having experience of my unit working in different parts of the world, right in Europe or Africa or India or Far East, I can safely say the new standards of Dubai are the highest in the world. Coming to India, I'm sure we are advocating the same now. And if you see the major projects like the airports or some of the smart cities being developed now, have actually implemented the very high fire codes.
But I must ask you, Mr. Mohiuddin, you're a third-generation entrepreneur from Mangalore. Yes. How close are those links still with the family back home?
I go back home every month, mainly to keep in touch with my parents. But I love India. I'm an Indian at heart. Mangalore is famous because of many things: education, healthcare, banking. There are huge personalities who came out of Mangalore, like B.R. Shetty, Aishwarya Rai.
And Kulwant, just to you, you're over here, you've done so well over here in the Gulf, in the United Arab, and internationally as well. But to you, how does India still hold so much importance in terms of where you see yourself growing professionally and what it could potentially mean for India?
Well, I think we haven't discovered India yet. We have a big connectivity of nearly 110 flights on a weekly basis. But the tier 2 and the tier 3 and the tier 4 cities of India have so much of potential for growth And I think we, being neighbors of that country, of that gigantic country, is something that we all should invest in, that we all should look at, because I think there is a huge opportunity. We no doubt have a successful formula. We have a fantastic formula with the visionaries of this country, but I think we've got a much larger platform in India. So with this formula, if we merge it with the opportunities and the platform that is available, there is a lot that investors from this region can do, joining hands with investments in India.
I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us for this first panel.
So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Manika Raikwar, Managing Editor, and Avi Bhujani, and I am not going to take his full name because he likes being called Avi, the CEO who never gets tired. We're going to keep you here for a long time. To give away the first set of awards and present them. And the first category, transformational leadership. Now, it's hard enough to bring about a small, meaningful change in your life, isn't it? It takes so much struggle. But imagine taking people, your teams, resources, and bringing about successful change in the way business is done, and make it a mega success. Now, we begin our awards with 4 winners in the category which captures this particular ethos, which is Transformational Business Leader of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just start with announcing the first winner of this award, Zulekha Daud, MD of Zulekha Hospital Healthcare Group, as the Transformational Business Leader.
I have come to UAE in the year 1964, where there was no airport, no seaport.
I think that deserves a round of applause in itself.
Yeah. And we landed on the runway because the British government had Air Force. I think I am the pioneer of the health services in UAE. The time I came, there was nothing. Nobody wanted to work anywhere. They said, oh, we'll go away. This is not the country to live. But saying that, people needed a doctor very badly. They made us do everything what we did at that time. And that is, I owe my allegiance to the people and the rulers of this country.
We're still with that category, Transformational Leader. The award goes to Mr. Kulwant Singh, CEO of Lama Group, and of course the King of Tourism, as Vishnu already said. Question for you. My husband's part of the hotel industry, and I keep getting the figures of Indian tourism, and I'm just wondering, what according to you do you think, despite having such rich historical culture, have we not been able to, at least in India, attract that level of tourism? You would have the inside dope on it.
Well, I said that we haven't discovered India fully, but what we get out of India, I think our 18 million people travel out of India. And what we get in Dubai is only 1.5 million. This is way beyond the number that travels. I also understand 50 million people are going to travel out of India by 2030. So I think we've got a greater role to play. We need to go to India more often. We need to have better strategies. We need to have more airlines bringing in more people, because the infrastructure that we have here can accommodate all the number that is going to travel out of India abroad.
The next award goes to a gentleman who I have personally known and have very deep regard for. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to announce the recipient of the next Transformational Business Leader Award, and it goes to Chairman of Sobha Group, PNC Menon, who's refined the benchmarks in construction both in India and in Dubai. He couldn't join us today, but Mr. Raj Chennai, MD of Sobha Group, is here to collect the award on behalf of Mr. Menon.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ben. Please send me my personal regards. Here is our next recipient of the Transformational Leadership Award, and this one goes to Mr. Firoz Alana, Director, IFCO Group. Mr. Alana again couldn't join us, but we've got Mr. Sudhakar Gupta, Director, Business of the group, to join us and receive the award on his behalf. In today's complex marketplace, the survival of the fittest is determined by business leaders who are aggressive and with their aggressive pursuit of growth are able to adapt, create and innovate. Strategic innovators do just that. So let's find out the 4 exceptional business leaders who made the cut to this unique category. Let me call upon stage Matthew King, Branch Manager, CMS Printing Press, to join Monica to present this award. First recipient of that Strategic Innovator Award, Vasu Shroff, Chairman of the Regal Group. So, we know all about your business achievements, but if I were to ask you, staying in Dubai, what is the thing you miss most about India?
Well, as I say short, we have been in Dubai 65 years. As the madam said from the hospital Zulekha, when we landed Dubai, we can see the donkeys and camels. Even though evening, when we go evening walk at the seaside, I used to touch the sea and say this sea, second shore is India shore. Because this sea is Arabian Sea, goes to India also near Bombay. This was the we miss. Apna gaon to apna gaon hota because you miss. But we are in textile business. God has made man, we make them gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, we'd like to invite upon stage Mr. Anil Srinivasan, General Manager of Jet Airways, to present the next award with Monica here. Strategic Innovator Award goes to Ram Muksani, President, ITL Group. What is the mantra behind your success?
You know, life was not complicated earlier when BlackBerry and Apple were just fruits. Since the time they have changed their identity, life has become complicated. So the challenges in life have always to be taken and faced. This is exactly what we have been doing for, I've been here for the last 58 years.
Wow.
And I distinctly remember when Dr. Daud, husband of Dr. Zulekha, was here, and we used to be friends, and Mr. Vasu Shroff was there also at that time. So we have to create the sustaining power within us to be successful. That's very important.
May I call Mr. Suresh Kumar Lalge, Chairman of North Tours, to join Monica to present this award. And the recipient now, ladies and gentlemen, any guesses? No, we're not going to do the guessing game here. Straightforward, Mr. Kamal Puri, Chairman and President of Skyline Group and Skyline University.
I were talking speaking earlier and he was telling me about his university. I just want to ask you, if you're a teacher, you run, you run universities and schools, and if there was one life lesson that you wanted to give, what would that be?
I always believe people can take away your house, your car, your money, everything. But one thing nobody can take away, which always goes with you, which is your brain. Keep on adding value. The world is changing so fast every day in the morning. Whatever degrees you have earned, that becomes irrelevant. Keep on adding values in your brain and update yourself and lifelong learning. Thank you.
Lifelong learning. Big round of applause. May I call upon Mohammad Hamid, Sales and Marketing Director of Umniyat, to join Manika to present the next award. And we are still with the category of Strategic Innovator. And our next recipient of this award is Dhananjay Datar, Chairman and MD of Al Adil Group of Companies. If you look at the landscape of politicians, some of the big politicians and leaders, global leaders today, with Donald Trump, Mr. Modi, and Mr. Putin, and you could take any other gentlemen who are leading or lady leading. If you were given one day to step into their shoes, whose shoes would you step into?
Narendra Modi.
Yeah, okay.
I like him because he's a very strong person and who can take strong decisions about our country. I can vote him. I love him.
All right. Thank you so much. Many congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have an interesting panel discussion. Majid Al-Suwaidi, Managing Director, Dubai Studio City. May I please invite you on stage? And also, Avishesha Bhujani, Group CEO, Bates Pan Gulf. Let's discuss soft power partnership between UAE and India. And what brings these two countries together is a rapidly changing digital world. And of course, Bollywood and creative juices are flowing here. There's just so much love for entertainment and everything related to films. What is it about Indian films and Indian entertainment that you enjoy the most?
Well, this is a very difficult question for me to answer.
Oh,
Number one, for many very basic reasons. Number one, because of the current position that I'm in, it's expected that I'm well aware of all kinds of movies happening across the world, which I'm trying to come up to speed up to. So, if I'm coming from technology, so I need some time to upgrade my knowledge into this. But generally speaking, I think it's very, the Indian movie industry in general, across the years that has passed, and I'm not an expert, nevertheless, is a very fertile and a very exciting industry. And definitely today, as heading to Dubai Studio City, it's a very important factor in how we want to develop and create content in this region. Right. It's one of the biggest creators of content across the world. It plays an important and a very unimaginable role in creating this kind of an excitement and great content that people consume over a very long period.
Speaking about content, Avi, for the longest time, everybody thought UAE or the Middle East per se, literally it was either if you were one of those who wanted to set up a big business empire, or if you were working as a blue-collared worker, you would make a beeline for a Dubai or a Abu Dhabi. Now, of course, things are changing, aren't they? There's a lot more talent which is crossing over, wants to live in Dubai. Are they being welcomed? And what kind of jobs are there in the content field today?
Out here today, whether you look at you look at the financial services sector, there's some pretty heavy hitters out of India, or other aspects of the knowledge sector, or aspects of the creative sector, where Bollywood plays a very dominant role in that, and all elements of the Bollywood value chain. Acceptability here is increasingly getting more and more. and you're seeing, I think it's but natural that Dubai hosted the first Bollywood theme park.
Absolutely.
So,
what is it that you would be able to offer, let's say, new age filmmakers in India? There's so much experimentation happening. There are small budget films which also happen, and on small budgets. Can Dubai offer that? Not big budgets, not a Shah Rukh Khan, but movies which are slightly different. Can they also be produced and made here?
Well, today I think the best part of Dubai and the most exciting part is that we serve all categories within the content sphere. And you've seen it across the last few months, where the government has been pushing very hard in content creation. And this content creation is not focused toward a specific group or a specific area. In fact, it's focused on all aspects of people living within the region. And I think today we've seen that the opportunities are huge. I'm in strong opinion the fact that today, whomever is coming to Dubai, and I have a lot of people to vouch for this today, is that there is something for everyone. And the industry today, the film industry, is not different at all.
Take the entire content spectrum for us and tell us what is your favorite, let's say, a movie or an ad, or what is it that really grabs your attention in clutter-breaking content?
I thought the social media clip of Shah Rukh Khan walking the roads of Dubai.
You really enjoyed that?
Was fabulous. I think it's fantastic.
Very nice.
It's a game changer.
So that itself is an advertisement. Come to Dubai, right?
Yes, absolutely. It is funded by the Dubai Tourism. So that's
All right. Let's conclude on that note. And Mr. Swayedi, thank you very much,
Thank you.
for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
much.